Hey, y'all, gravity. Any day above ground, live it. I gotta create a night one when I do these night live streams. I gotta try to do that. I'll do that later. But yeah, I couldn't wait to do this. I couldn't wait. We had to get into this today because it's not fair to leave this content out there. It's not fair. We're gonna get into it. We're not gonna belabor these points. We're just gonna get into it. Make sure when you come in, you hit the like. I know a lot of y'all did, and I'm very appreciative of that. But for the new people that are coming in, make sure you hit the like. And let's get into it. Let's get into it already. We're going to start here. Fair use, the Blaze TV. Fair use. Fair use. I'm going to be on film for this, but fair use. Let's see. I'm going to... Nah, y'all don't want to see me that big. Yeah, we used that one. Yeah, fair use. I want to make sure. Wait, Mike Pence, who was first? No, he was first. Oh, Tim Scott, he was first. He was first. We got to talk about him first. Kelvin Black, hello. Tucker will never ask DeSantis any hard questions. Let's see if he did. But yeah, let's get this popping. I know. Let's get this popping. Here we go. Fair use to Blizz. Fair use. Oh Lord, not the music. Not the music. No music. There goes that smile. There goes that smile. He already looks uncomfortable.
Isn't it good to be in a nation where you are free to praise the Lord? Hallelujah. Since Tucker's not here, I'll just continue. But there he is. There he is.
I was listening to you. I was like, that's right. Thank you, Senator.
Absolutely. Good.
Thank
He thinks he's Tim Chappelle. All right.
you for doing this.
Yes, sir.
So we spoke backstage, and you said that you have slept in your own bed 6 nights in the last month.
Not much, yes.
But that it doesn't bother you at all, and you're having a great time.
Yeah, I said behind the scene here that what a blessing to live in a country where we are free to praise the Lord. Amen. And that the Judeo-Christian foundation of this nation sets the standard across the world. That is what we talk about when we think about John 8:31 and John 8:32. John 8:31 says, you have to abide in me, and then you will know the truth, and that truth will set you free.
Amen. So, a nation that great has to beware of threats to its very existence.
Absolutely.
Yesterday, Biden mobilized reserves. What do you think of that? And are you concerned that we're moving, as we seem to be, toward war with Russia?
Yeah, so I would say that without any question, we should never allow American soldiers to be engulfed into the challenge between Ukraine and Russia. Our boots on the ground should not be there. The ability...
Good answer. Good answer. Good answer. Who cares?
My mama wanted a preacher, so I'm going to stand up and do it.
Preach!
Hallelujah! So, literally, so I think one of the failures of President Biden has been...
No, Negro. No.
If you're not careful, I'll give you a yellow card.
What are we doing, sir? Cut it out.
His inability to articulate America's national vital interest in the conflict or the genocide in Ukraine. America's national vital interest is degrading the Russian military. When we degrade the Russian military, we make sure that our home front is safer and that our NATO ally partners that would cause us to send soldiers over is safe. When we have the land contiguous with Ukraine safe, we keep our American soldiers at home, and our primary objective should only be to engage when America's vital national interests are being engaged in. Unfortunately, President Biden has no ability to understand and appreciate what that looks like.
Wait,
And that's a
may
major
I
problem.
ask, so you're saying that it's in our national interest, vital national interest, to degrade the Russian military, in other words, to fight Russia with other people's soldiers?
I would say it this way. If you think about the world order that we established after World War II, you think about a rules-based system. Where does a rules-based system come from? It comes from this nation, our Judeo-Christian foundation, that says that there are rules of the road, that there is something called absolute truth. And we established that. As a part of that absolute truth, what we're trying to do is make sure that our home front remains safe. Keeping our home front safe means that evaluating the actual threats to our country, the most immediate military threat that could happen is Russia. Why is a good question. You look at their sixth generation jets, you look at their hypersonic weapons, you look at their nuclear arsenal. Everything that we do that degrades the Russian military is good for America. You look at the long-term threat to our nation, it's China. Their existential threat that we face long-term becomes China. You look at this rising axis of evil that we're seeing being formed, it's Russia, China, and Iran.
Boy, he pulled the Kamala real fast. He just talking, sir. That is not. Oh God, that's not the axis of evil, sir. The axis of evil is white supremacy, white supremacy, white supremacy. That's the axis of evil. There y'all go again, trying to go to the Middle East. There you go again. There you go again. Okay, you got it.
Breaking that to pieces before it gets started, I think, is in our vital interest.
So on the day last February that Russia invaded eastern Ukraine, Russia and China were not allied, but within weeks of the sanctions that we applied and the...
Whoa, what? What did you just say, Tucker? Let me go back a little.
Get started, I think, is in our vital interest.
So on the day last February that Russia invaded eastern Ukraine, Russia and China were not allied, but within weeks of the sanctions that we applied and the stated intent of the Biden administration to effectively wage war with Russia, you saw an alignment which now hardened between Russia and China. The United States.
Did you forget about BRICS, Tucker? Did you forget about BRICS? How the hell are you going to tell us that China and Russia weren't aligned? They've been aligned since 2009. What are you talking about? See what they're doing? You see what the media is doing? Even though Tucker ain't part of the corporate media machine anymore, you see what they're doing? They're trying to, he's still running a script. Sir, Russia and China have been allies for almost 15 years. What are you talking about? BRICS is an existential threat. I know y'all don't want to acknowledge it and bring light to it because you know what's going to happen. People are going to start investigating it and realize that we really are in some trouble. Yeah, but they go lying again, but it's white folk.
Military cannot, as you know, since you oversee it as a member of the Senate, cannot actually defeat Russia and China united. And so it would seem that the Biden policies have created a larger threat, no?
Well, I would say it by looking back to 2014. There are two times that we've seen incursions in Ukraine that create peril for America. The first time was under President Obama when he drew that red line in Syria and nothing happened, which gave permission to Putin to come in and take Crimea. The second time we saw was when President Biden sat back.
Didn't Obama bomb Syria and then lied and say he didn't do it? Huh, okay.
And watched as Scholz in Germany led the Western alliance to provide resources to Ukraine, which was a mistake colossal on our part. So what you saw was President Biden saying to Putin, I'm going to give you a list of areas that we don't want you to have cyber attacks. Weakness. Second that we saw, President Biden said, gosh, you know what? If you just take parts of it, it's okay. Well, when we have NATO territory that's contiguous, bombs, missiles, on NATO territory creates a real challenge for our nation.
Well, you can see how it could be.
Dude, this guy is like, he's like watching paint dry the way he be talking. Where's the, come on, let's get to the show. Mm-hmm.
Taxes.
Well, here, listen, I mean,
No, but
yes.
you would, bottom line,
I would say
put armed Americans, federal employees.
The resources. I would hire more. I would not take the IRS agent.
No, I know, I'm just totally joking.
No, that's not exactly what I mean. What I mean is that take the billions of dollars.
I can't with this fool no more. I can't do it. I can't listen to him no more. I'm sorry, family. I know I'm supposed to be serious here. I can't do it. Moving on. I can't do it. I can't listen to this fool no more. I can't. He pisses me off. Fam, that's the face. That is Tim Scott. I'm sorry. Screenshot this. Let me blow it up for the family. This is Tim Scott. It's over, family. You never had a chance. This might be my new profile pic on Twitter. I swear to God.
It's Rizzo, baby. Got me fucked up.
Moving on to the next person. Who do you think is the next person? Aisha Hutchinson? We don't care. We don't care. We're going to go to Mike Pence. He was a highlight. He was a highlight. Yes, he was. They say his campaign ended on this day. Let's hear what Mike Pence said.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President, for coming.
You bet. Thank you, Tucker.
So great.
How about a round of applause for Tucker Carlson for being here and doing this, everybody?
Jesus Christ. Why do you laugh like that, sir? Why are you laughing like that? That's not very manly. Who laughs like that? Who laughs like that? But we shall applaud Tucker for him doing this. But we're only gonna do it the way that we do it.
A black Somali suspect.
Tucker.
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 The only
I thought I was going to get off easy. I got on stage. There was no Tucker. So,
you know, there's a recession when one of us doesn't have a job. It's me.
that would actually be two of us, Tucker.
Actually, I'll start there. Are we in a recession?
You know, I think there's a real possibility that's already hit parts of the country.
Yeah.
I mean, look.
Question, I'm sorry. Family, why are they having them hold mics? All this money that the GOP spends every year, they can't get lavalier mics for everybody. I mean, they had it for Tim Scott, but they can't get one for Mike Pence. All right.
Joe Biden comes into office, and along with Democrat majorities in the House and Senate, they launched a gusher of spending, $2 trillion in unnecessary spending that initiated the worst inflation in 40 years. They launched a war on energy. They dismantled all of our successful policies at the border, created the worst border crisis in history. And the reason I'm running for president of the United States is because I know we can do better. We can bring this nation back. We can restore the American economy. We can secure our border, and we can stand for the God-given liberties that have always made this country strong and true and great.
Come on, get the clapping.
Well, thank you. And we can certainly do better. That's for sure. So I have to ask you, since you were a witness to, and in some unintentional way, a participant in one of the most widely covered events in American history, January 6th, what was that? Do you think that was an insurrection?
Well, first,
Say it.
look, can I just take a moment just to say thank you to the family leader, to Bob Vanderplatz and the whole team here,
Oh Lord.
and to our friends at
Oh,
Blaze TV,
Lord.
including my old
He ducking. He ducking. I like it. Go ahead and duck. You gotta tuck and you gotta duck. I like it.
friend Glenn Beck. We're standing here on a historic day in Iowa, when in just a few short hours, Governor Kim Reynolds would take to this stage and sign into law historic protections for the unborn. And I think all the members of the family leader here in Iowa prayed and worked and fought to bring us to this day. And it's an honor to be with you all. It really is.
Stop breathing into the mic, sir.
Now, as to that day, let me just say, all I know for sure, having lived through it at the Capitol, is that it was a tragic day. I've never used the word insurrection, Tucker, over the last 2 years, but it was a riot that took place at the Capitol that day. I saw firsthand where they'd evacuated us down to the loading dock below the Senate chamber, police officers that, as the day wore on, were streaming through 150 law enforcement officers that were assaulted. Obviously, the tragic loss of life ransacking the Capitol that occurred. But I really do believe that a day of tragedy became a triumph of freedom. And I'll always believe that by God's grace, I did my duty that day under the Constitution of the United States of America, and our institutions held.
When you
Let me tell you something, man. You see a thing named police, politician. Me not trust none of them boy, the road boy. Remember.
say the tragic loss of life, who are you referring to?
Well, obviously, Ashley Babbitt would come to mind immediately.
Let me tell you something, man. You see a thing named police, politician. Me not trust none of them boy, the road boy. Remember.
Go back a little bit. I want to hear all that. I'm gonna go back a little bit. I want to hear all this.
And our institutions held.
When you say the tragic loss of life, who are you referring to?
Well, obviously,
Sorry.
Ashley Babbitt would come to mind immediately.
What do you
When
think
I
of the
think
fact
of
that she was shot?
Well, I just think it was a tragic moment, without question. But I have to tell you that seeing people assaulting law enforcement officers, smashing windows, breaking into the Capitol building, it infuriated me.
Of course it did.
And it's very likely that the restraint that was shown by law enforcement officers saved lives that day.
Did it? You sure?
But I think it's important that we.
I heard about that restraint. We all saw that restraint. They were holding up them heavy ass doors so people can open up. That's what we saw. Oops, I shouldn't have said that.
Hold those accountable who perpetrated acts of violence and vandalism in our nation's capital. But I'm still waiting for equal vigor and equal prosecutions to be brought on those that brought hundreds of BLM riots to cities across America.
Amen.
I mean, the truth is, we don't make progress in this country by walking away from the rule of law. We uphold the rule of law and we apply it equally and fairly. And I think that holding those accountable that rioted at the Capitol that day is right and proper. But I also believe that people that engaged in the hundreds of riots over the summer of 2020 literally burned out family businesses and communities and also cost lives.
Yes.
Must be held to account.
Amen. So we spent, when the BLM riots.
So you're going to do that for white people, right? Y'all going to hold them accountable because white people were doing the same thing, sir. See, there we goes that anti-black dog whistle. Here it goes. Come on, sir. Are you going to hold them to account? Let me know. Oh, we know, Victor. We know, Victor. It is terrible. Keep going.
It's happened and the riot in front of the White House that injured more law enforcement personnel than January 6th. We spent a lot of time talking about why those rioters were mad. They were mad about systemic racism and the death of George Floyd, et cetera.
Here we go.
Why do you think the people who swarmed the Capitol on January 6th were mad? And why haven't we talked about that?
Well, first off, I would tell you that.
Ask it again, Tuck.
On January. Why do you think the people who swarmed the Capitol on January 6th were mad?
Hell of a question. We like it. What's your answer?
And why haven't we talked about that?
Well, first off, I would tell you that I think the January 6th committee was a partisan committee in the Congress of the United States. And it failed its historic mission of bringing the facts forward.
Yep.
And I know your commitment to bringing all the facts to the American people, Tucker. And I know we're grateful for that. The truth of the matter is, as some members of the staff of the January 6th committee said after it adjourned, they spent all their time focused so much on one individual and on placing blame that they spent very little time focusing on law enforcement failures that happened that day and intelligence failures that happened that day. And I hold to the view that we can never let this happen again. We can never allow the capital of the greatest nation on earth to be subject to a riot for any purpose, for any motivation. And for that reason, we need to understand why law enforcement that day was not better equipped, better prepared, where the intelligence failures were. And I believe that in time we'll have those answers.
Amen. But I wonder, though, again, about motive, since these were, and I'm not excusing any act of violence ever anywhere, including on January 6th. However, they were American citizens. Most of them didn't commit acts of violence, and they were really mad. And they were mad because they thought the election was unfair.
Right.
And I wonder why more time hasn't been spent by either party reassuring Americans that our elections are real, that all votes are counted, that the electronic voting machines, which no one seemed to trust 10 years ago, now are infallible, why mail-in voting is a good thing. Like, why doesn't anybody try to reassure the public that the mechanics of voting are legit? And are they? Do you think the last election was fair?
Well, as I said on January 6th in my communication to the Congress, and I've said many times since, there were irregularities in the 2020 election. There's no question. There were about a half a dozen states that changed the rules of elections in the name of COVID.
Yep.
And that undermined public confidence in the outcome of our elections. Now, at the end of the day, we brought more than 60 lawsuits, states engaged in recounts. And when states ultimately certified and courts upheld those changes in virtually every instance, and ultimately we were able to determine that the changes, there was no evidence that the changes had changed the outcome of the election in any way. I knew that my duty was clear that day. But candidly, as I've said before, President Trump's words that day were reckless. I believe whatever his intentions in that moment, it endangered me and my family and everyone that was at the Capitol that day. I believe history will hold him accountable for that, just as the law will hold every.
Who cares?
I don't. Bruh, who cares? What about the issues? That's what we care about. Let's go. Come on, let's get to the show. You dancing. We ain't got time to dance.
Of his treatment of Christians within Ukraine. The Zelensky government has raided convents, arrested priests, has effectively banned a denomination, a Christian denomination, the Ukrainian Orthodox Church within Ukraine, has persecuted Christians. And I wonder if you raised that with him.
I did raise the issue when we were there. And I raised it with the leader of the Orthodox Church when I was visiting Kiev and asked him about concerns about religious liberty. He assured me that the Zelensky government in Ukraine was respecting religious liberty, even while recognizing.
Okay, sir, I don't want to hear none of this. I don't want to hear none of this. Let's get to the show. Y'all want to see the clip, right? Okay, we gonna show you the clip. Here's the clip that everybody said.
They're saying,
oh my God, bro. We gonna keep this? Nigga.
Yeah, Mike Pence, your campaign's over, sir. Yeah.
One more thing. Bye-bye, bitch.
Okay, he's done. We're gonna take an intermission break in between the next three. I want y'all to look at this person that you see on the screen. This is Delano Squires, and he fancies himself a member of the Heritage Foundation Research Fellow. I need y'all to look up the Heritage Foundation one time. I need y'all to look that up one time. These guys. These guys. Another think tank, but they always want to laugh and hate on the left for having think tanks. Okay, cool. Let's hear what Delano had to say about Asa Hutchinson.
A very, gripping, powerful story about a friend who lost a child to fentanyl, right? Given where we are today, and this is a family leadership summit, we're talking about faith and family. I think it's worth asking, how is it that a kid that grows up in a household, I'm assuming his parents were married, with parents who love him, who has every sort of technological advance and every material comfort, ends up falling into such a despair that he's turned into the streets for drugs? That's why I think the conversation about faith is so important, because we have a generation, particularly young men, who are despondent, who are despairing, who are disconnected from friends and family, who do not see a viable path for themselves. They don't even know what a man is anymore. And I think part of what I think a politician should do, any of these presidential candidates, is be able to articulate a clear and powerful vision for our country, particularly as it relates to family. And
Okay, sir, let me explain something to you. You're black, unfortunately. I don't think you realize this, sir. The black church has failed everyone. The white church has failed everyone. The Presbyterians, shout out to the AAPI, they failed everyone. Latinos, Iglesia, they all failed them. Okay? Y'all keep talking about bringing faith back to America. When has faith ever helped America? That's right. When you guys used Christianity to persecute black folks. When you use Christianity to justify going after the Jews. So, yeah, what y'all should be doing is saying, okay, at the minimum, read that damn Bible, even though it's a pack of lies. But y'all keep talking about faith. All y'all that keep talking about faith don't know a damn thing about faith. I said it. Y'all can read chapters out of the Bible and use it to try to get people told. Y'all don't know nothing about what y'all be talking about. Y'all don't know what God's will is. Y'all keep saying, oh, God is going to right everything. God also let flood happen that wiped out most of the earth. God's son kicked over the money table. God's son raised his voice. God brought evil on the earth. God punishes those that don't follow his will. But the problem is, y'all don't even know what God's will is. I could have a theological discussion here, but y'all don't want to hear that. I love how they always bring the Negroes on to talk about God. They always want to come talk about, they always want to get the in-depth Negro talking about God. An in-depth Negro couldn't even explain the Bible to me. They gonna tell me some bullshit about, oh, this is what God's plan was, and how he was saving people from being persecuted, and Jesus is his only son, immaculate conception, all this dumb shit. Y'all don't even take the principles out of that slave manual and use it correctly. Y'all pick and choose when you want to use it. Let me tell you something about faith. Yo, Jesus, yo, God, it's a 50-50 partnership with human beings. You're supposed to put it in the work. And God's got to check your paperwork before he performs his miracles. The reason why this country is so fucked up is because y'all keep using his name in vain. Y'all run to the Middle East saying, oh, we've got to protect the American Judeo-Christian values. You ain't got to protect shit. You want some fucking oil. That's what you want. Just I would listen, let me tell you something. I would respect a politician that said, we going over there to get this oil. I would respect it. I would respect it. We want to go to war with China because guess what? Them motherfuckers, they gonna take us over. We can't have that. I would respect it. Y'all talking about, oh, we got to protect Taiwan because, you know, they're strategic. No. You fucks want to be number one. It's okay. When your skinheads, I'm talking to white people, when your skinheads, your Aryans, your Patriot Front, your 3%ers, your Oath Keepers, them assholes, they run about flying a flag all over the place, talking about God, family, country. They just so happen to show up in black neighborhoods like in Philadelphia. They got chased off the block. They show up in D.C., got chased off the block. They showed up in New York, got chased off the block. Those fuckers never show up at white neighborhoods. They always show up at ours. Funny how that works. It's funny. I'm sorry. I'm going to say it. I don't know when white trolls come say it. You know all those pristine suburbs they love showing you? You know, Rob always says surviving the suburbs. I'll say it. For as chaotic as they want to portray the hood and the inner city, you have more peace in the inner city than you do in the suburbs. I said it. Oh, I said it. The weakest motherfuckers come out of the suburbs. I said it. Why do you think when white people get the first opportunity to go to a big city, where do they go? Oops. Where do you think Vivek's people go? Oops. Where do you think the AAPI goes? Oops. Shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. Where do you think La Raza goes? Oops. Shit, I wasn't supposed to say none of this. That's right. They go to the inner city, not because it's cheaper, because they feel safer. Oh, hey, let's put that Latino family in the Poconos around them white supremacists that be shooting guns all day. Yeah, you think they gonna feel safe? Hell no. Let's put the AAPI, let's put that nice immigrated Vietnamese family. Let's go put them in, where we at? Let's put them on the north side of Chicago. Let's do that. You know, the Gold Coast. Let's do that. Where the rent is over there 5 digits, 6 digits a month. You think they're going to feel safe over there? Hell no. Should I keep going? Let's put that nice Ukrainian family. They're suffering. They came from a war-torn area. Hell, you think we're going to put them in Beverly Hills? Sure, let's do that. You think they're going to feel safe over there? Hell no. They dumped them in the hood because they know they can feel safe. Black people are the most welcoming people on earth to a certain point. Now the point is over. Everybody's falling off the cliff now. Everybody came into the house, disrespected, didn't take their shoes off at the door, went in the fridge and asked, how come this is the only milk you have? I like 2%. You only have whole. Cool. You kept doing it. Now you got to the house where you open the door and you fall off the cliff. So y'all want to keep talking about faith. Oh, God says you should help out your fellow man. Uh-huh. What if I told you that black people don't subscribe to that? I'm sure I can speak for everybody in the comment section and they tell you we not doing that no more. How they said it? Hold your own nuts. Torian said hold your own wontons. Hold your own pierogies. So, yeah, you can take your faith and you know what to do with it. Let's move on. This wench. Old Nikki Haley. God, she look old, dog. Yeah, dog. Look at her. Lord. All right, Nikki, what you talking about?
You have to make sure that people, and you have to keep cleaning your rolls so that dead people don't vote. I mean, that's a huge thing that we've got to do. And so I think we should always keep pushing for that.
So electronic voting machines, I think, are the majority of voting in America. It takes place on electronic voting machines. And I know that there are municipalities that haven't received access to the software that runs those machines. Why would that be, do you think?
I don't know. I mean, I'd be happy if everybody just did paper ballots and then we were done.
Yeah. Do you think that that's, I think most people would agree with that. Do you think that that's something that governors should push for?
I mean, I think that you need to show the people of your state that they can trust the system.
I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that. That is so goddamn unprofessional. I'm sorry. I did not mean to do that. I shall calm down with reading Carla Locker's comment. She said, yes, they live in the hood, then they gentrify us out of our neighborhood. And guess what, Carla? And you know this, and everybody else in here knows this. Once they gentrify us out of the neighborhood, what happens to that neighborhood? Neighborhood sucks. Haven't y'all noticed that yet? Haven't y'all? White people, this is for y'all. White people, haven't you noticed when you scumbags show up out of the Midwest or the West Coast, you come to a black neighborhood, y'all gentrify the hell out of it, and then you realize it sucks? Haven't you noticed that? You did it to Harlem. You did it to Williamsburg. You did it to certain parts of Chicago. You did it to parts of the DMV. You did it to give me another place. You did it to Philly. Yes, you did. Atlanta. Oh, you destroyed Atlanta. Along with, us transplants. At least I have respect for the city, but I still have to put myself in there. You destroyed. Look what y'all did to Compton. Compton, your house is now at $700,000-800,000. A 4-bedroom. My wife and I were looking the other day just to see on a humbug was 900 something. They had one in Inglewood for 1.2 million in Inglewood. Y'all show up everywhere and destroy the soul of that place. Thank you, 225 girl. Oakland. Y'all destroyed Oakland. Y'all destroyed parts of Seattle. Look what y'all, family, look what they did to Boise, Idaho during the pandemic. Look what they did. You could get an apartment before the pandemic up there for about $800. A decent sized apartment, 2-bedroom. Beautiful. You know them rents are now about $2,000 right now. In less than 3 years, it went up to $2,000. Jersey City. Hoboken was kind of rich, but Jersey City. Weehawken. Look what y'all did to Weehawken. Right by the Lincoln Tunnel. Look what y'all did to that. Y'all suck. And then you got the nerve to look at us, talk about, oh, y'all don't play y'all politic cards right. So, all right, motherfucker, we going to show you next year. You watch.
A lot of weight in that in South Carolina. I wanted to make sure that every South Carolinian knew that we had fair elections, that we had verified elections, and that we were making sure that there were no dead people voting and no people duplicate voting. And I think every governor should make sure that that doesn't happen in their states. And I think that you also go a step further. Congress should also have oversight of election integrity to make sure if we have to change things. A lot happened during COVID. Learn those lessons and say, how do we make sure it doesn't happen again? I think we've got some opportunities there.
It doesn't seem to be happening, though.
No, it doesn't. But what has Congress done for you lately?
Fair. Well, last question on this. I'm just interested, since you've been traveling, obviously you're running all around the country, is this question, the question of whether the elections are fair, whether your vote is counted, is this top of mind for Republican voters in your experience?
I think Republican voters want to have faith in their system. And I think there's still a lot of questions out there. I think they're still concerned that those things that happened during that election don't happen again. And that's why I think governors need to step up and make sure that they're doing the things. And some governors have done a great job. You have the best governor in the country, by the way. Kim Reynolds knocks it out of the park all the time. But I do think this is a responsibility that we should have. It's a democracy. And in a democracy, you want to make sure everybody has their vote. But more than that, the people need to trust the government that is doing those elections.
Okay, whatever. I can't listen to her either. I got to wait till the 23rd. I'm sorry, family. I got to wait till the 23rd. But you know who we came to see. I'm not even going to do DeSantis. I'm not even going to do that. To y'all. You know who we came to see.
I've been there before, yeah.
Let's get a producer on the stage. Right. Put it in the wrong way.
That's what she said. That was not professional. That was so totally not professional.
My name.
Put the batteries in the correct way. Is that on? I love it. So Vivek is the only person I think who hasn't practiced politics for a living. Correct.
Yeah, I'm not a practitioner.
No, you're not. You're not a practitioner. So it's interesting. So let me just start with a very quick overview. You've been traveling around the country for the past, 3 months, 4 months?
Yeah, 4 months.
How do you think the country's doing?
I think the country is doing poorly, is the answer. I think that we have a void in our country. I'm the first millennial ever to run for U.S. president as a Republican. And I see people my age in particular across this country who are not doing well because we're starved for purpose and meaning. The people.
I hate this motherfucker so much. I'm sorry, family. I hate this motherfucker so much. You lying bastard, you. Yeah, the country ain't doing well, but yeah, sir. You want to explain this? Huh? Vivek Ramaswamy's pharmacy firm to sell experimental drug in $7 billion deal? I'm sure he's probably going to tell me that he's not part of this company anymore, so he's not going to get a dime out of this. Yeah. Uh-huh. A pharmaceutical company founded by Republican presidential candidate Vivek Ramaswamy is reportedly tossed to sell an experimental drug in a deal that could be valued at more than $7 billion. Rovent Sciences, which Ramaswamy started in 2014, has worked to commercialize drugs held up in development by acquiring and creating subsidies to develop them. In February, the same day he publicly announced his White House bid, Ramaswamy revealed he was stepping down from Rovind's board to focus on his 2024 presidential campaign. Months before November, Rovind secured the rights to an intravenous medication that could treat debilitating stomach disease like Crohn's and ulcerative colitis. Yeah, if the deal isn't hijacked by another potential buyer, Roivant Roche deal could be sealed in the coming days. I bet when you leave, your stupid ass is gonna run right back to the Roivant and get your money, get your cake. By the way, Vivek, that's a political move. I wonder how the FTC is going to handle that, and the SEC is going to handle that. I'm sure they're going to be, quite stringent on investigating that. Okay.
We're looking to be part of something bigger than ourselves, and yet we've lost the things that used to ground us: faith, patriotism.
Speaking of patriotism, sir, speaking of that, what are you doing here, sir?
USA! 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 It's good to see you. I never seen you out there. A couple of you were out there before. It's good to be back, brother. I love you.
Okay, a man of the people.
Hard work, family. These things are gone. And so we're lost in the wilderness. And then we latch on to whatever the other side serves up for us. We could wokeism, transgenderism, climatism, whatever it is. These are symptoms.
Woke. You knew that word was coming, family. Woke. Sir, you don't know what woke is. You don't know what woke is. You never did. You never will. I can't believe I just kicked myself out. That's not even funny. But yeah, you're not woke, sir. That's right. That is the face you make when you know you're true woke. Come on, Vivek. Tell us something. Tell us something different. I need something different.
Drug addiction, depression, suicide, you name it. These are symptoms of a deeper void of purpose and meaning in our country. But Tucker, I think the good news in that is I think our country's not doing well, but I think that this is also our opportunity as a movement to level up and fill that void, that vacuum, with our own vision. Individual, family, nation, God. When I talk to young people about this, they're more interested in that than they are in race, gender, sexuality, and climate. And so now we got to start running to our race, God. When I talk to young people about this, individual, family, nation, God. When I talk to young people about this, they're more interested in that than they are in race, gender, sexuality, and climate.
Now, do y'all believe him? If you believe him, put a 1 in the chat. If you don't believe him, put a 2 in the chat. I think he's lying like a motherfucker. You talking to conservatives. I need you to go talk to regular folk. Go talk to moderates with that. Come on, sir. Come over here and try to sell me on that. You another one that wants to shop God. God ain't gonna pull you out of this. I'm telling you this right now. Mister, that my family came over here for nothing, yet your daddy worked for GE. Your mama's a doctor. Yeah, you really came over here with nothing. Okay, sure. Sure.
And so now we got to start running to something as Americans. And if we do, I'm confident that our country will be doing well again. That's where I'm at.
Is it my imagination, or are people who weren't raised in traditional religious households, who haven't spent a lot of time thinking about theology, all of a sudden talking about God a lot? Do you notice that?
I do notice that, actually. And I think this is a good sign because there's an old expression, right? If there's a hole the size of God in your heart and God does not fill it, something else will instead. That's what's happened in the last decade in our country. Something else, some secular religion has filled that void. But it hasn't really satisfied our moral hunger, right? And so that's kind of, that effect is fading. And I think people are hungry to turn back to the real thing. The conversation's coming up, but they say it with a kind of prudishness.
Yes.
Right? God is a 4-letter word. It's sort of a thing you have to tiptoe around. And I think that right now, family's the same way, the nuclear family.
Oh, Jesus. You see this? Y'all see this, right? Y'all are hearing this in real time. I didn't edit this clip. I didn't do nothing. Y'all are hearing this man say this crap. Young man, well, you're older than me. Sir, let me explain something to you. Again, you another one of these faith pushers. Let me explain something to you. You can't tell people how to exercise their faith. You're not qualified for that. Enough about that. Sir, where you been? I guess you forgot about how BLM ran outside. You know, the corporate BLM ran outside and said that they're trying to destroy the Western nuclear family. I seem to see that even though we don't like them, we actually railed against them on that. Everybody else followed suit. We were the ones that exposed it. You know, white supremacy like to take credit for them exposing it. No, it was us that exposed it. And we stayed on it. We were even the ones that showed that they kept moving it down off their page until they got rid of it. Sir, the black community has always been about family. Not only is the political party that you are aligned with, but also them Democrats. Y'all don't want the black family to flourish because you know your power would be usurped in this country. You know that. The cops would be rendered obsolete. You know that. Because a thriving black family, guess what doesn't breed? Crime. Oh shit, I wasn't supposed to say that. Yeah. Guess what it also doesn't breed, since you want to talk about faith? Them pork chop pastors. You don't have a whole bunch of churches in the hood. You may have maybe 4 in a 2 square mile radius. And those 4 are different religions. Know what else you have when you have an intact black family? That's right, thriving economies, which y'all don't want. Because guess what? When you have a thriving economy and a nuclear black family, we don't have to go to y'all no more. We stay home. We keep the money in our neighborhoods. Our neighborhoods thrive. And guess what else can happen when your neighborhood thrives, when you keep the money and the business is there? You get to pull something that y'all love to pull on everybody else. That's right. You get to dictate who moves there. I wasn't supposed to say that. Carla Locker, I know it's late. You know he's not going to do that. This is why he won't come talk to us, because I'm going to ask him, sir, point blank, how do you plan to fix the supply chain in Los Angeles and Baltimore and Jersey and Miami and Texas and Seattle and San Diego and San Francisco? How are you planning to do that, sir? Okay, great. You don't have a question. But how do you feel about reparations for the Black American descendants of chattel slavery? We know what his answer is going to be, but okay. I just want to have that question on the record. Sir, how do you feel about Black people and the Platinum Plan? Did you think it is a viable strategy? And if it was represented, would you be on board with it if you became president? Okay. Say less. Great. Let's ask this. What is your plan to combat BRICS? What alliances will you build? How will you stimulate trade so other countries that are not part of BRICS who may want to work with it, how are you going to make the deal attractive? You're a businessman. Everybody tells me you ran businesses and you have helped society more. Tell us how you're going to do that. Sir, what was your role on the Ohio coffee venereal disease team? How do you say you're not political when the State Department interviewed you in 2011 and you were peddling Ebola drugs during the height of that incident under the Obama administration? Have you ever been a liberal? We have questions, sir. Are you in favor of bringing back the trades in high schools and middle schools so we don't have to worry about quote unquote affirmative action being erased from these colleges? You can just go to a trade school or learn a trade in these schools and leave at 18. If you don't want to go to college and pay all that debt, go into a trade, because we need trade skills men and skilled women. We need those. Explain that to me, sir. Are you in favor of that? Because you say you wanted to destroy the Department of Education. Cool. I could care less. Are you in favor of that? Fine. You want to destroy the Department of Education. Cool. Are you in favor of changing the curriculum? Since you want to talk about civics so much, how about instituting civics as part of the curriculum all across the country? Instead of incentivizing students to act for $25,000, because you're essentially just creating prostitutes at that point. That's right, I said it. Because then you can't gauge how much civics that they've learned. I think that would be advantageous. Will you declare white supremacist groups not only illegal, but will you declare them threats to national security and threats to all Americans? Will you do that on the record? We're not talking about just the KKK. We're talking about Patriot Front. We're talking about the Oath Keepers. We're talking about the Proud Boys. Everybody. How about that? Would you do that? I don't think you would. Here's an idea. Are you in favor? And listen to me good when I say this, family. Matter of fact, I'm going to blow my face up because I don't care. I don't run from no smoke. Vivek Ramaswamy, since you want to be president, here we go. I got something for you. Will you, on your first day, sign an executive order saying that any police department in the country that harbors white supremacist gangs and or groups will officially have their funding pulled? They will not get 1 red cent from the federal government until they exercise those cops out of their ranks. Will you do that? These are questions that the Black community has. And this will be my face as he tries to answer these questions, because we know he's going to be full of shit with it.
Makes some people uncomfortable when I say it, but Actually, this is the best known form of governance to mankind. And so if we start talking more about, hey, that's what we're running to, that's actually what we stand for. Yes, we are one nation. I'm a citizen of this nation, not some nebulous global citizen somewhere else. That it is one nation under God. Yes, it is a nation that is stronger when we ground ourselves in the unit of the family. Then I notice something happens, especially for younger people across the country, Tucker, is they're more non-politician, but I'm also a younger person in this race. I don't have a ton of experience running governments before. But
Wait. He lied, folks. Young man, why are you lying? Sir, you were literally on Harvard's board to select the president of your school. That is a form of government, sir. You literally are in charge of the future of that college. You literally had the power to influence the endowments. Literally. I'm not making this up. You can go research this for yourself, family. He was literally on the board to choose Harvard's president. How does he tell this lie? Sir, you were chairman of companies. That is literal micro government. You took votes, correct? Yes, you did. You were beholding to your people, not just the employees, stockholders. Yes, you were. That's what America does. You're beholden to the stockholders in this nation. And you know who the stockholders are? Us. Your Social Security card makes you stock. Sir, you've been doing government since you founded your first fucking company. Stop lying. The State Department would not be interviewing you if they didn't think you were a threat. No, I'm sorry. I said that wrong. The State Department wouldn't have interviewed you if you were a threat, sir. You're not a threat. You never were a threat. You're someone they can prop up who can talk stupid game and game young people. When you get cooked on the 23rd, your job on the 24th on to November 5th, 2024 is to see how many young people you can get to cross over to the GOP. They're going to throw you on the school tour. They're going to have you on tennis courts playing with young kids. That's what they're going to do. They may even be nice enough to send you and your wife and your two kids a ticket to Paris for the Olympics. You don't even realize you've become a GOP mascot. I said this 3 years ago. Whoever lost the election, they had to get younger. You are the avatar, sir. All your trolls that showed up in my comment thread, and especially the one that said, y'all don't like it because he's not the Brown you want, told me everything I need to know about the GOP. They don't care. They don't want to keep it on the issues. They're trying to win a popularity contest. Every one of them is copying MAGA, just changing it around. Y'all are a bunch of plagiarists. That's all I'm seeing. The GOP now stands for Gang of Plagiarists. I said it. Now y'all can go use that if you want. The GOP is now called the Gang of Plagiarists. Black Light, somebody in my comment thread said that. They said we're upset because Vivek's not the brown that we want. Who is that? I don't care what color you are. I need policy. I need policy. Vivek, speaking of policy, and I'm going to end it off with this. I think you guys might be a little bit interested in something that I found out. Vivek, explain this. You're going to get killed with this. Ironically, this came out May 23rd. 3 months from that day, you're going to get killed on this. Explain this. How Vivek Ramaswamy helped make Marion Shkreli, whatever the hell his name is. Shkreli, whatever. The farmer bro. We all know who the farmer bro is. That was Mr. Diabetes pen. I'm going to oversell it. Ramaswamy's hedge fund firm invested with the since infamous Shkreli. Later, he would say he was pathologically incapable of telling the truth. Ooh. Vivek Ramaswamy, let's start again. Vivek Ramaswamy, the Republican presidential candidate who made a fortune in biotech, once was involved in a significant investment in a biotech company run by disgraced investor Marion Shkreli. Shkreli, the oft-described farmer bro who went to prison for 4 years for committing securities fraud conspiracy after he gained notoriety for dramatically raising the cost of a life-saving anti-parasitic drug, said in a YouTube video in mid-April that Ramaswamy was at point his biggest investor and called him a friend. I believe so. Yes, Blacklight. That was him. Yes. Oh, yeah. He jacked it up. And then when they called him out on it, he doubled down like the true white supremacist that he is. No, Val Williams. He has solutions. He's just waiting for Trump to say it. And then, you know, what he gonna do, like all the tethers do. He basically took our business model and supersized it. He told the My First Million podcast in a little notice part of the video. Who influenced who is a matter that is left to history. I'm going to read that again. He basically took our business model and supersized it. He told the My First Million podcast in a little notice part of the video. Who influenced who is a matter that is left to history. So he already outed him as a plagiarist. Shkreli may have overstated matters. The investment, which was made in Shkreli's first company, Retrofin, came from a hedge fund firm that Ramaswamy worked for at the time in New York City, not from Ramaswamy himself. As for comment, Ramaswamy said that he helped the firm QVT Financial evaluate and invest in hundreds of publicly traded companies. He noted that Retrofin, which was one of Shkreli's several companies that worked to find drugs for rare diseases, was one of them. Quote, his strategy at a different company, Turing, of hiking drug prices shockingly similar to what Big Pharma regularly does, Ramaswamy added, including you. Big Pharma just dresses it up in the veneer of do-good stakeholder capitalism. That's why they get away with it. It's arguably even more corrupt because it's less transparent. That's just the hard truth. QVT did not respond to a request for comment. Here we go. The biotech startup space can be cutthroat, and analysts are often forced to make difficult decisions that require balancing social good with the pursuit of profit. Reached by phone, Shkreli demanded money from Politico and its parent company, Axel Springer, to cooperate. I will tell you everything I know. In exchange, I suppose your company would do something for me, he said later, and the really juicy stuff I know is something that I could potentially sell to the National Enquirer or to monetize that myself. Well, if you sell it to the National Enquirer, they could easily debunk it, and they can easily write it off as lies. You're better off saying it yourself. But I like it. I like how all the supremacists are going after each other. I like it. Bob Williams, he's been doing that ever since he started running. When told that Politico does not pay for interviews, he said, "I'm just struggling to understand what's in it for me. I'm going to need a sweeter deal than that. I have this new software. If you plug that, maybe we got a deal then." He then offered money to write a positive story about him, saying, "If I bless your Cash App like 5 bands, $5,000, which 5 bands, but Black Americans ain't got no culture, right? Okay, cool. Like 5 bands, $5,000. Will you say some nice shit about me?" Ramaswamy's time in the world of business has not been a central component of his pitch to voters, but it has allowed him to fund his run for office. He made several $100 million of biotech before switching his focus to politics, wrote a New York Times bestselling book on the dangers of wokeism, and started an asset management firm focused on telling companies it invests in to steer clear of politics and focus on profits instead. Here we go. What was Martin Shkreli really guilty of? Ramaswamy wrote. Why did the DOJ go after him so hard when it lets others quietly get away much worse? Whom did Shkreli hurt? The people he was convicted for defrauding all ended up richer. The people who used Daraprim didn't pay more for it. The cost was split up against the whole health insurance system. Jesus Christ. I will put this in the chat for you because this man has stay lying, boy. This man stay lying. There y'all go. Y'all can read the rest of it. I think I'm about done with this. Like I said, I'm not going to play DeSantis because I don't care. But what we learned out of that whole 8.5 hour debacle that the Blaze put on is, those 4 words that we like to say around here. That's right. The world is correct. It's funny. Blacklight and I were talking yesterday, and he brought up something. He said a lot of these people that claim that they're against certain things really want those things to flourish. I'm paraphrasing. He wants them to flourish because these people really won't stand up for what is correct. And I said they're not going to do it because they always want to win. It's not about being right. It's being a winner. But the winners are never right. They keep complaining about wokeism, but they're literally cheering on a woke candidate. I don't even think they even realize that they're doing it. No, how come he's the only one that's been talking about the Black community consistently? I have to at least give the other supremacists and Tim Scott credit. They're not just focusing their ire in what they need to do on Black people. He's the only one doing it, and they don't pick it up because he's being quote unquote anti-Black. Trump's not stupid enough to do it out loud. DeSantis is not stupid enough to do it out loud. Tim Scott's not stupid enough to do it out loud. Mike Pence is not stupid enough to do it out loud. Nikki Haley's not stupid enough to do it out loud. Asa Hutchinson is not stupid enough to do it out loud. Will Hurd, he just got in, so we don't know how stupid he is. And everybody else. They're not dumb enough to say how they really feel about Black people. He's been consistently showing you how he doesn't like Black people. Consistently. They like it because he's going at us. He don't like it because we push back. We not finna sit up here and let you talk shit on us. That ain't happening, bruh. And again, you have an open invite, sir. You didn't show up today. You didn't show up today. Cool. Figure it's late. You have an opportunity tomorrow. Show up. Explain this to me. I got questions. Come talk to the grassroots. I'm a family man. Let's go. Let's have the conversation. But we'll see if you do it. But it's late. I know y'all want to go sleep or go listen to Tariq because I'm sure he's on now. I'm going to go. I appreciate y'all showing up. This was fun. We really didn't learn nothing, but hey, politics, sometimes you walk away with more questions than answers. Yes, Kyle Lockhart. Yes, Vince Lombardi did say that. But here's the problem. Doesn't apply today because even the winners are losers. But anyway, y'all take care. Stay safe out there. Always remember to make this face the face you make when you know you're true woke. Because we know what woke really means. Take care. Stay safe. And y'all know what to do with the agitators of peace come to mess up your existence.